Greetings, disruptors. You're meant to do this life or business. You're not meant to do this life or business alone. Today, Dr. K is breaking down how sisterhood isn't just cute, it's critical for your mental health and your success. Greetings, disruptors. We've got your girlfriend, Dr. K, with us.
Hello, 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 girlfriend. Thank you so much for having me, Selina.
Yes, I am so excited that you are here and to have this wonderful conversation around
Yes,
girlfriendism. Absolutely. So let's jump right in.
yes.
How do you
Let's.
show up in the world?
So I show up in the world as your girlfriend, Dr. K, right? I show up as your girlfriend who is helping to create non-judgmental spaces
Mm,
where I understand that as you come through the door because you are born worthy, right?
yes.
That you are coming in with all of the skill sets and the expertise and perhaps titles and education that goes with it. And also understanding that you need a safe space where you can let all of it go and
For
simply just be yourself. And so that's how I show up in the world as that girlfriend who is creating safe space for other girlfriends across the globe.
I love that. That's exactly what
I love it.
apropos is that. That is freaking
Yes,
fire.
we
Where
are fire,
where in the world are you, honey? Because that background is giving all the vibes. Mm.
right? So I am on the beautiful island of St. Croix in the US Virgin Islands. That is where I am from, or rather how we would say I born and raised here in the Virgin Islands. So that's where I am. So even though it's a Zoom screen, this is exactly what it looks like outside my window.
I
So not far from the truth.
I'm coming to visit for sure,
Anytime.
sure,
Come
for
through.
sure.
Come
So let's
through.
talk about it.
Yes.
What inspired you to start girlfriendism?
Well, it's funny that you asked that question because if you asked me even like a month ago, I would have given you the story of where I first started. And
Mm,
that is with a fashion brick and mortar boutique carrying pieces made by women for women called My Girlfriend's Closet, which I still have. But interestingly enough, today, right, is a Wednesday. And on Wellness Wednesdays, I send out a Wellness Wednesday newsletter. And today, it helped me to click what the root of girlfriendism, where it actually started. And I
ooh,
realized that in reflecting on messaging for Wellness Wednesday, that this journey actually started when I was in high school. And so I was always that student who was what they call the teacher's pet. I was always to
yeah,
the front of the class. I did all of my assignments. I wanted the extra credit, right? I was the president and vice president for this group and that group, honor roll, the whole
yeah.
nine, right? And in that journey, I had gained some friends, or so I thought, right?
Mm,
And what I shared in my newsletter today is that I realized that I had a series of events that occurred with those friends that showed me, unfortunately, that they were not actually there to support me, that they were attracted to my light, but they didn't really know what to do with it. And they were envious. And now I understand that they were envious because maybe they wanted some of that light too, and they didn't see that they had their own light. And so there was no need to be envious because they were shining in their own way. But you know, when you're in high school and you're a teenager and you're figuring out life, you don't always see things that way. It's usually the wisdom and the experience that comes. And so that stuck with me. And I didn't realize how much it stuck with me. I think I wanted to just like plant it in the back of my head somewhere. And, you know, I continued to do the things that I wanted to do and the things that I wanted to achieve. But I also realized the difference in my body, even my nervous system, when
mm,
I was surrounded by women who were embracing my light, right? Who shared in that
yeah.
light and how important that was, not only for the things I wanted to accomplish, but just for my heart and my soul space and for me to just feel open and free. And I said, you know what? I want to do that for other women too, because every woman deserves to have girlfriends who truly celebrate them and love them just as they are. And so that is actually where I started. And it's today when I sent that newsletter out, when I was working on it, that I said, oh my goodness, this has been in the making since high school.
I love that so much for you. What came up for me around that growing up, I don't know if it's the same in the Caribbean because I feel like when I
Hmm.
visit, there's more of a family vibe
Yes,
and unit where it's more communal, right?
very much so. Very
Here,
much
our
so.
history, we have been separated, and
Yeah.
a lot of it is around protecting, right? And
Yes.
survival. And
Yes.
I would hear things like brown skinned women, that whole
Mm.
vibe and things, and just not trusting women, right?
Right.
That
Right.
I believe that that created some of that, and I never carried that kind of vibe, even though I was being
Yes.
told that sort of
Told that.
thing, right?
Yes.
And what I realized is, I feel like I've never met a stranger. Everybody's
I love
not
that.
a friend, but everybody is a friend, right? They can
Yes.
become a friend. And what I
Yes.
realized, I was in my best friend of 43 years, we
Mm.
I don't talk to her anymore because I
Mm.
realized, going through my own shit and my journey and everything,
Yeah.
there would be times where there would be like a hmm,
Mm.
but
Yes.
friend supporting, and more of it was, I don't even think it was a like my light kind of thing. I think it was the fact,
Yes.
the what I had been through and what she had been through, for
Hmm.
her, made her be in a space that wasn't supportive and conducive of me. It was
Right.
pure, um
Yes.
about her, right? And so
Yes.
I don't think it was necessarily personal, but I
Yeah.
realized that it wasn't serving me, and I
Hmm.
was leaning in. And what I said
Yeah.
to her was, one, I don't trust you.
Hmm.
Two, I realized I'm your best friend, but you ain't my best friend.
Yeah.
And she wanted to make it right, and I realized she just couldn't, because now I was seeing
Mm.
clearly, and I could hear her, uh,
Yes.
see her clearly doing things that just weren't in my
Yeah.
best interest. And I
Yeah.
just blocked her. I was like, you don't get access to me anymore. And so
Hmm.
in that dynamic,
Yeah.
what does that look, because I know quite a few women like with similar stories in the cases.
Yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
how do you handle that for women?
Yeah. Well,
Or
first I say, acknowledge the grief, right, of the relationship, first of all, because when we lose somebody that, you spent 43 years with, that's, 4 decades plus,
since
there's grief that comes with that.
yeah,
There's grief that comes with that. And so it's first just honoring that. And I think there's also just honoring the fact that people change and they're allowed to, and it's okay. Right. And so I actually did an episode on what it's like to release with love, because the reality is we're going to come across these relationships where it's just not a fit anymore. And sometimes we look at it, and because we're grieving, right?
yeah,
Our defenses may be up, or we just feel like, I just want to block the pain that comes when I even think about you or I look at you. And so I just want to block that, right? And understanding that human nature is always changing. We're always changing, and so are our girlfriends, right?
absolutely.
And so that releasing with love is just that acknowledging of, it's painful that we are no longer where we once were, right? But we can celebrate that now we're going into two different chapters, and that you're not going to be with me on this chapter, but I still wish you well, just as I wish myself well in meeting these new girlfriends on this new chapter. And so just releasing that with love, right? Because 43 years, that's a part of the shaping of who you are to some degree today, right? And so we don't want to throw that away,
And
right? But
feel like we
yeah,
said everything that needed to be said.
good. Yes.
Didn't I don't have any weight in a boat around it or anything other than I
Yes.
realized I was your best friend, but you were not my best friend, right? And I
Yes.
said all of those things to her.
Yes.
And who knows what the journey looks like further down the
Right.
road, right?
Right. Right.
I love that so much. This is
Mm.
that's a great way to do that. Release what well, I release everything with love because
Yes. Yes.
I want to give out the same energy that I want to receive.
That you want to receive. Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Absolutely. So
Yeah,
it
that is
started
important.
in high school. So let me ask you this.
Hmm.
I'm known as the disruptor, so we disrupt shit around, right?
I love it because well-behaved women never made history anyway.
Hello, that part. I need to write that down. I'm taking notes because this is for me as well as the audience. I'm so
Yes,
grateful that you came on.
yes.
What did the disruptor in you have to disrupt?
You know what? I've had to disrupt my own perspective of self for a while, right? In order to get to this place where I can release with love. And so I think that coming into my adulthood, there was who people saw me as, and then there's who I really am and who I want to be. And so there's a certain level of pain that you experience when you're trying to contort into boxes that people try to fit you in that you don't want to be in anymore.
Oh,
And I think just disrupting the identities that people have put on me and me just owning my own shit and just being like, listen, this is who I am. This is what works for me. This is what doesn't. And if it does not work for you, then I release it with love, because that's where empowerment comes from is when you can choose. So you can choose to be in relationship, choose to be in girlfriendship, or you could choose not to.
I
And
love it.
so I think just kind of disrupting also in girlfriendism, the reason I wanted the ism is just kind of creating a new ism that is just based on love, right? There's so many different isms that are just social ill, the capitalism, the racism, the colonialism, all of these different isms that bring so much weight and heaviness to us. And if they're always going to be there, well, then I'm going to create an ism that's going to counter that, right? Because we got to speak to what it is that we do want to see in the world. And so that girlfriend ism is I wanted to disrupt all of these other isms and the way that it shows up for us as women, but also how it impacts our relationships with women, how we may see other women, how we may see ourselves. Like, let's disrupt that. Like, where do those narratives come from anyway? They could take that back and we rewrite our own narrative, our own her stories. And so I think part of it was just disrupting my own identity. Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up in this world? Who have people told me I need to be? Do I want to receive that or do I want to say that does not belong to me? Disrupting myself first and then adding that same energy to this movement of we're going to disrupt the way that, people talk about women and especially women of color as if we can't come together in community, as if we can't get along, as if we can't do business together. When in actuality, culturally and historically and ancestrally, that's what we've been doing all of our lives, right? That has been the thing that has kept us surviving from the mid-Atlantic slave trade until now. Try to eradicate a whole people and couldn't do it. Why? Because of that community and that connection. And even though we're in a world, right, a Western civilization that is capitalist based, and a lot of times we focus on the individualism, there is still something that's in our DNA that says, I need to connect. I know that I belong somewhere. I know that I have community. And so that cultural piece, just keeping that with us and infusing that in girlfriendism has been so key because it's the reason why we're even existing still as a race. And not only existing, but having the audacity to be thriving, even amidst all the madness, and even considering what we have been through as a people, because it's spiritual. It's very much spiritual, especially for women of colors. We come together when babies are born. We come together when people get married. We come together when people pass away, right? We come together around food. We come together to create rituals. This is how we survive as a people. And so I think just disrupting that notion that we can't get along, that's not true.
Who
It's in
told
our DNA. Who told you that?
where you get that from? Where that come from? Absolutely. Oh, I love this so much. This
Mm-hmm.
was so rich. The girlfriend, well, I heard two words because I don't even
Yes.
know if I heard the word girlfriendship before. Um,
I
I
did
heard
say that,
you say
right?
that, right? And even in our community, like we're in community together,
Yes.
and
Yes.
building and supporting our mission and vision and dream. So I love that. And then
Yes.
girlfriendism, I love the fact that we're disrupting those doggone isms. So
That's
it's
right.
plastered everywhere. Like where,
That's
what's
right.
What do we need to know about girlfriends?
Yes.
And how do we get to be a part of it?
Oh my goodness. So just by being on this podcast, so you my girlfriend now, you stuck with me, just so you know.
Okay. And
Okay. And for those who are looking at it too, that if there's something that resonates in what we're saying, that's how you know you're a girlfriend, first of all. Now, if people are looking at this and they're like, well, I don't trust women and I don't believe in that, then that's okay. Keep on going. I release you with love, then this is not for you. All right. But if there's something that resonates, right, and something that bears that curiosity, how do we build more connection? How do we build community? How do we, start to bridge the gaps between different women? How do we heal generational oppression within our own families, between women and their children and sisters and all of that? Is something in all of this is resonating. Folks can definitely get in touch with us through girlfriendism.com. That's our website where it shares all of the information on the retreats that we host and the services that we provide. Right now, I'm actually getting ready for a retreat in North Carolina that I'm excited about next week. And I'm excited about it because the retreats are opportunities where we really get to do this. Like how we're having our girlfriend conversation right now, we get to go deeper, right? And so I think when entrepreneurs think about like building their circle, for example, they often think about networking,
yeah,
right? But the thing is with networking is that there's like a certain level of connection and then no more. And then it's in the follow up, and then you're not always sure who you're following up with because you didn't really have that true, genuine, authentic connection in the beginning. Whereas
mhm,
when you come into a girlfriend space, you're coming as yourself, not with all of the other hats that we wear, but understanding that everyone in the room is wearing hats. Like, I don't need you to run down the list. We just know this because we're women. And we are the ones that are keeping our families together, our communities together, our businesses together, society together. That's our essence. That's what we do. So without you even saying to me, I can I can hold space for you because we share that in common. And then at these retreats, that's where we really get to know who is this person that's in front of me? How are there more similarities amongst and between us than there may have been differences if we were to meet outside of this intimate space? And so people can get in touch with us, just by subscribing to Girlfriendism and taking a look at our Wellness Wednesdays newsletters and just getting a chance to understand what is this ism about, or jumping full fledged and saying, I want to come to this retreat. I want to hold space for myself and I want to hold space for other women too, to be girlfriends. So there are different ways to engage.
I wanted to just get that right up front, right? Because
Yes.
that's what we want to know. Because
Yes.
I want to be a part. Why wouldn't everybody else? So I love.
Right.
So let's talk about
Thank you.
why the retreat in North Carolina. Because I thought I was
Yes.
St. Croix
You
first.
are coming to St. Croix too.
I'm coming.
So, yes. Well, I'm looking out for it. I'm gonna keep the date. You let me know the date and I'll be there. So let me tell you a little backstory of how it started. So
Yes.
when COVID came, right, like I told you, I had these brick and mortar boutiques, and one of the things that we've always done is bring women together. And so fashion has always been on the surface, like the fun thing that we enjoy doing, but really and truly beneath all of that, one is the self-expression, right, of my culture and my identity and who I am and how I show up, right? So all of that is in the fashion, but then it's also connecting with other women who want to be expressive and who celebrate culture and all of that. And so we've always hosted these social gatherings. So of
Yeah.
course, when COVID came, it threw a wrench in everybody's business. And I was like, well, how do we find a way to still stay connected with the girlfriends that we've built these relationships with? So girlfriendism was born out of that, like just the act of being a girlfriend, the act of checking in on your girlfriend. How are you doing? How are we managing with this isolation, with this pandemic and all of that? And so on the onset of that, fast forward, I said, I'm going to host a retreat just to bring a small, because I think at the time there was like a limit to how many people you could have. I think maybe 50. I was going to just do something small, maybe 20 to 30 girlfriends. And we're just going to have a retreat to kind of get ourselves out of this. Well, Selena, that thing grew from being like a little meetup to now 5 years later. We've hosted retreats in Bali, in Thailand, and in Greece. So we did Santorini, we did Athens, St. Croix, St. Thomas, and it's taken on a life of its own, right? And part of it is I want to build this global network of girlfriends because when we get to talking about entrepreneurship and how girlfriends play a role in our success as entrepreneurs, right? it's important for us to not just think of what's in front of us, but also the globe. The globe is our backyard to play with.
Absolutely.
Right? So why limit ourselves? And so part of the reason we're doing North Carolina is my girlfriend is there, right? I have a girlfriend who's been carrying her organic skincare, Monica Bombrand. She's amazing. And she still has this connection to St. Croix. So she farms on St. Croix. So we use our natural medicinal herbs like hibiscus and lemongrass and all of these things that our grandparents would make something. You have a cough, okay, come, let me make a tea for you. You know, your stomach hurt, okay, come, let me make a soup. Let me pick some of these herbs. And so she's taken that history, that cultural piece, and she's used it to create organic, 100% organic skincare. And so I said, well, girl, you know, you are in North Carolina. I need to come spend time with you. Matter of fact, let's just create a space for us to spend time with all the girlfriends. Let's have a retreat there. So that's how North Carolina came about, right? And Cary, North Carolina, where we're going specifically, has also been known for its trails and just being out in nature and just having a slower pace. So I think it's a great opportunity for people to just be in that energy and take that time for themselves while also connecting with girlfriends. So that's how North Carolina came about.
I love that. And how often do you do the retreats?
So this is another one. So typically we do one each year, one that would be local in the Virgin Islands, and then we would alternate and do one that's international. But the girlfriend started asking, well, when is the next international trip? So then now, since this is our 5-year anniversary in Girlfriendism, we've been very intentional about focusing on the wellness, right? Because people know us for the fashion. And we're like, yes, and that's not the only thing we do. Underneath all of that, it's using the fashion to bring women together, using the fashion to help women to express themselves, right? So the fashion is a tool, but it's not the end goal. So we've been intentional about promoting that wellness. And so because of that, we have 5 of them this year. So I had one in April. So I also have a nonprofit sector to Girlfriendism that works with survivors of domestic violence and sexual violence. And it's by and for survivors. And so we did that just for survivors in April. And now we have North Carolina.
And is that one just for survivors or is that one open?
No, this is open. Yeah, the one in North Carolina is going to be open. And this is what I'm doing this year to try to provide more access as well, right? Is doing these different variations of retreats. So like I said, we've always done one in the Virgin Islands that's like a weekend long. And then we've always done the international ones, right? And so those run, you know, 6,000 for the international one. And then a really good retreat, weekend retreat can run, you know, at minimum from a $2,500 and up. But in this vein of wanting to connect with girlfriends, even beyond the Virgin Islands, and also understanding that as entrepreneurs, sometimes even a weekend just seems like so much time to devote, which we have to shift how we think about that. Because if it's time for ourselves, you can never devote too much time to yourself, right? However, it's a process, right? So in the process, until we get to that place where we're like, yes, I'm spending a week, no problem. The Girlfriendism Retreat Day is providing more access, not just the financially, so you can get an opportunity to come and meet us, but also so you still are able to commit a day to yourself to just say like, I can't do a weekend. I can't do, you know, an entire 10 days, but damn it, you could take a day. You know what I'm saying? And if you feel like you can't take a day, that's even more reason why you need to take a day.
Need to be there, right?
Because whose life are you living? Is it not your life, right? And so if you can't even take a day for yourself, that's an opportunity to be able to sit and evaluate, well, what's going on in my life that I can't even take a day? And so the retreat day is like our introduction into communities that we, you know, may not have had an opportunity to connect with us before. So they might just be like, you know, she seems kind of cool. I like her outfit, but I don't know if I want to spend a whole weekend. You know what I'm saying? You know, understand that people may be on the fence. They want to get a feel. So the day allows women to devote a day, right, without having to interrupt a full schedule, gives them an opportunity to get to know us before they commit to a longer schedule. And it's just a beautiful opportunity to connect with girlfriends.
I love this so doggone much.
Yeah, I love it too.
I absolutely cannot wait. I gotta go find some more coins.
That's right,
So
bring the
I
coins
can
on.
know
We're
us.
manifesting it. Schedule. We're manifesting it together. And it's a beautiful opportunity to connect with girlfriends.
Yeah, I love this so doggone much.
Thank
My
you,
stuff
girlfriend.
is to me over here.
It's just echoing it to you. It's just saying, yes, I echo what you said. Those sentiments.
Absolutely. Isn't that what happens?
Yes.
This is just amazing. Why do you believe that girlfriends, that the friendship of that is essential to mental health?
Oh my gosh. So I don't think it, I know it. So let's just know. So I know this because I've experienced it, right? But the science, even the science says, right, that it's super important. So I noted this because I was like, I don't want to forget to say this. So
Yes.
American Psychological Association, right? So if you don't trust your girlfriend, Dr. K, who knows a little something about mental health, right? You could believe the American Psychological Association. They said that the lack of social connection is more dangerous than obesity, more dangerous than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Now,
Mm.
we all can create a visual of the risk that that poses to us. Not often do we stop to think about that same risk being present if we don't have girlfriends in our lives, right? And the science shows us that when we have that support circle, when we have girlfriends, when we have safe space, we have a 50% increased chance of survival. And if I could rewrite it, I would say not even just a 50% chance of surviving, but thriving as
I can
well, right?
I can
Yes,
receive and believe that because
yes,
they say like when you're married, it increases a man's life,
but not the woman,
right? And
right?
so can you imagine with women
Yes,
amplifying other women, and you said
yes,
50%?
50%. This is not 10%, it's not 20%, it's 50%, right? And it by having these healthy friendships, it also reduces stress. This is why we focus on the girlfriends for wellness, right? It reduces depression, right? It rewires our brain for resilience because when we feel like we have support in anything that we're doing, whether it's entrepreneurship, a new relationship, whatever it is, when we know that we have that support, which we always have because culturally and ancestrally, we always have 10,000 ancestors walking with us anywhere that we go. Let's just be clear with that, right? But then we have that in the physical realm. We walk different. We enter rooms differently. You know what I'm saying? And even when you do encounter those situations where you may be like, you see people who are not, catching your energy too much, you're like, it's all good because I got support. I got
Hello.
girlfriends, right?
That
But
and look,
then
and
when
then go back and tell the girlfriend what
right, could you believe they had the audacity, right? So you
happened.
show up in the world differently and as your full self. Again, the healthy relationships, right? Nurturing that healthy relationship. And so it's so important having girlfriendism to be able to share what do healthy relationships with women look like? What do they feel like, right? And another part of it, a major part of the services we offer is the movement and the dance. So we can be connected with ourselves. So when we do walk into a room, without knowing who's in the room, we can feel the energy of the room because our body is going to tell us you are not walking in the right direction. This is not a safe space, or you can flow in this space, right? And so our bodies, we learn to listen to our bodies more and connect more with our bodies when we're moving and dancing. And then when we do it with girlfriends, it's just a dance party on a Saturday, a Friday, whenever it is. You know what I mean? So it's good for your health and it's good. Joy is good for our health.
I,
Happiness is good for our health, right? And so therefore, girlfriends are good for our health.
I received that. I love a good girl
Mm-hmm.
that will
Yes.
lift my crown and tell me about myself at the same time.
Yes.
I need
Yes.
strong minded girlfriends because
Yes.
I know
Yes.
how I show up.
Right.
So that's
Right.
so important. And I've been on
Yes.
my own mental health challenge the last year and a half.
Yes.
And to be in community and have the support and be able to just share it openly. And then, girl, this
Yes.
menopause stuff that then popped up is like,
Listen, it comes up
I,
in every girlfriend conversation we have. I tell you, and I'm here taking notes because I'm like, thanks for giving me the heads up because I know what time is gonna be coming.
feel like I've had two cycles of it. It's crazy. I want to come
Yeah.
back to talking
Mm-hmm.
about the mental health, and you are a doctor. The doctor is in front of your.
I
Well, tell us more, Doc. What do you got going on
Yes.
How did you become a doctor? Why are you a doctor? Like what?
Oh my goodness. So I love this, right? So my PhD is in philosophy, so I'm a doctor in philosophy, and I study advanced studies in human behavior, which makes perfect sense that girlfriendism is my business because I love to observe and understand human behavior. And I think that has been essential for me in this work in creating safe space because I think where people may not be tapped into their emotions as much or what we would call emotional intelligence, right? They may get defensive easily, right? Because everything is about them. Oh, that person gave me a bad eye because, whereas when you understand human behavior, you actually can tap into that place of empathy faster because you understand that that behavior right there has nothing to do with me. And so
Absolutely.
I don't need to take that on. What I need to do is either release with love, right? Or continue to just hold space whenever that person feels comfortable enough, feels open enough to be able to share more. And so that is my doctor hat. So I bring a lot of that into the girlfriendism space, right? And also putting that respect on friendship. So
Okay.
I have worked in traditional clinical settings, and one of the things that I honestly missed was like just really being able to sit fully present, not having to watch the clock, like, oh, our session is done in 45 minutes and I have to have my 15 minutes of notes before I work on a cycle and jump to
Right.
the next person, right? Being able to have the education that comes with that is required for that, but also being able to come from this space of focusing on friendship and being able to truly sit with people and to
Right.
actually see them and to hear them. And then there's also power in when I can say, I know what that's like because I've experienced this too, which is something you don't always get to do in a clinical setting because there's this neutral space of client, right? And professional. In
Mhm.
my girlfriend hat, I get to again bring that expertise, but I get to truly sit with you as a girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's how I'm able to apply this doctor hat to the work.
I love this so much. Man, I don't know if I said this to you when we were chatting before we got on, but I want to say it again. It feels
Yeah,
like to me you're living your best life, like where purpose meets passion.
I really am. I really am. I feel it. And in the days where I may not feel it because there's something that's misaligned and I need to check in with myself, right? Which is why it's so important to be still, right?
Yeah.
Because it's when we're still is when we can check in with ourselves and say, okay, what is misaligned? The girlfriends always affirm that. So even in the moments where I may have lost touch for a second, the girlfriends remind me, right? Like you're reminding me right now. So thank you very much. You know what I mean? And that's
I,
the importance of having girlfriends that are able to see your light and celebrate your light because they're their own light as well. And then we build that together,
I,
as opposed to someone sucking your light out and dimming the light. We magnify each other's light. And I really do feel like I am living my best life. I'm doing everything that I want to do as I want to do it and with the whom I want to do it. I mean, I get to create a business, y'all, where I get to work with my girlfriends. I mean, you know, so I'm truly grateful. I am truly grateful.
I love this so freaking much for you. And then it's a reflection of what other possibilities are there and what you
Yes,
be, right? So
absolutely.
I would imagine it also helps encourage other women to know that they can do it because now they've seen you.
Yes,
Oh, I can have time freedom. Oh,
yes,
I can do what I really love and enjoy
yes,
and
yes,
take care of myself.
absolutely. And thrive, right? And thrive. Not even just survive and thrive because when we think about what are we working for anyway? Like, what
Right.
are we doing all of this for anyway? Right? Usually it's to be able to have that time freedom to spend with the people that we love or to spend the time doing the things that we enjoy doing. And so that is a gift that I'm able to do that with what I've created and something that, again, and people say this, right? When we listen to different coaches talk about entrepreneurs, they're like, what is the thing that seems so obvious to you
Hmm.
that you may be overlooking it? And it's creating safe space and it's valuing friendship, the importance of friendship. And sometimes we don't realize how important something is in our life until we don't have it.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
so I think friendships sometimes for people, they see a bunch of women get together and they're just like, oh, they're just going shopping and just doing what women do. No, 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 no. They're
Oh,
replenishing their souls and their spirits. They're walking in a space where they feel safe and they can show up as their true selves. Because then when we're able to do that, then we can actually tap into our higher purpose. Then we can move like we know we got the purpose. You know what I mean? And then we know that we're supported. So I have no choice but to be successful because I've got girlfriends who are going to support me in that process. And so it's absolutely possible. And I think, even when you shared about this 43-year relationship, right, that maybe did not turn out the way you would have wanted, but I think that's also beautiful to share because we can accept that, sometimes that is part of the girlfriendship, right?
yes.
As we were talking about cruising, right? Cruises have different ports that they stop at. They let some people off, they let some people on. Some people stay on for the entire ride. Some people circle back to the origin, and some people come off midway. And it's okay. And I think the sooner that we're able to just embrace that, wow, I had a wonderful 43 years, or I've learned this much in the 43 years, right? And so it wasn't a loss. It's a gain because you're also being true to yourself and who you are now,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah, and now you
Absolutely.
can attract girlfriends who are in the same space as you right now. So you honor both. You honor what you've had in the 43 years and still honoring this new chapter of girlfriends that you're able to continue building. So that's a beautiful thing too.
Absolutely. And as I reflect on that, it made room for another friendship that
Yes.
I was 13 when I met both of them. And now
Yes.
that relationship is like flourishing and just taking
I
a life,
love that.
you know,
Yes.
right. It was like
Taking on a life of its own.
absolutely, it was like nothing was lost
Yes.
at all. And
I love that.
I don't see her as a loss. I'm sure when the time is right that
Yes.
it'll probably circle back around when it's supposed.
Yes.
I did what I
Absolutely.
did for me, and I believe she was doing
Yeah.
what she needed to do for herself.
Yeah,
No
and
weight on.
that's something to celebrate, right? That's something to
Absolutely.
celebrate because at the end of the day, the both of you are women, and we live in a society that tells us we should put ourselves last. We live in a society that says everybody else's needs are more important. So even in a friendship, when the ties have been severed, but both parties are now able to go in the direction that they need to go to flourish, that's a celebration, right?
Absolutely.
It's a celebration because that we empowerment comes from choice, and that
Yes.
includes who you choose, right? And that's the beautiful thing I think with girlfriends. And it's funny because I go back and forth, or I've gone back and forth with the word, the term sisterhood, and then also girlfriends, right? And I think the beautiful thing is sisterhood is pretty much what we also create with girlfriendism, right? But sometimes even with sisterhood, sometimes we think about it so literally of like actual sisters. What I
Right.
love with girlfriends is that it's the sisters you choose. It's the family you choose. And so that is such an empowering space to be in because it's not because you have the same DNA. It's not because this is who you grew up with and your mama said, y'all gotta be friends for life. It's, you know what I mean? It's who you choose. And then
Absolutely.
once we surround ourselves with people that we choose, and we start to see all the other areas in our life that we also get to choose.
Ashe. And I love that
Mm-hmm.
because with this friendship that I'm talking about, we call each
Yes,
other either sissy or sister, or let me call
yes,
you sister. And we know we're best
yes,
friends too. So sometimes
yes,
I'll get a meme about, I can't wait to go tell my best friend this or something like that.
yes,
So I love that. And not
exactly.
only, I feel like there's different journeys of
Yes,
girlfriendism that I have experienced. What
yes,
it doesn't matter how long you've known the person,
right,
where
right.
it just clicks like this is my
Yeah,
sister.
yes, this much vibe. These are my people. I found my
Absolutely.
people.
I
Yes,
love
yes,
that. Before we get out of here, what are some
yeah.
key things? I have kind of a twofold question here.
Mm-hmm.
What are some key things that you want women to know with respect
Yeah.
to friendism points that you wanted to make? And then what are the
Mm-hmm.
transformations that you see in the women that
Mm.
experience girlfriendism?
Oh my goodness. So what I want women especially to know is that if you've had a relationship that did not go the direction that you hoped, still find the beauty in it. What did you learn from it? How did you grow? How did you come out on the other side? What can you apply to another relationship? And know that one experience or even two experiences doesn't define the entire experience, right? You get to choose the impact that that experience has on your life, right? And the beauty in that is that there can, from that choosing and from that accepting, right? Accepting where you are, accepting where our friends are, that's where healing can begin. And when we heal as individuals, we heal our communities, we heal our society, right? So it's really on girlfriends are healing the world when we heal ourselves. And also understanding that if there are people out there who are just feeling afraid, like I know I need community, but I'm just afraid. I've been burnt in the past. I know I need connection, but I'm afraid. Know this much. You don't learn about yourself by yourself. We learn about ourselves in relation to others, right?
Gosh,
And so, if for nothing else, right, wanting to connect more with you and understanding how you can overcome those fears, finding that confidence in yourself, relate with others, and use that as information to learn about yourself, right? And then in that process of learning and healing, now you attract other people who are learning and healing. So I think that is important for women to just trust themselves, right? To be in spaces where they're going to be supported. Expect support,
absolutely.
expect love, expect the light, expect that, and you will see more of that, right? And that's how we build that global wellness empire.
I love this, girl. You are in your bag. Open it wide open, huh?
Ah,
I love
thank
this.
you.
So this type of thing is some soul level work. There's a lot of
Yes.
journey in there. What type of resources, podcast books, what
Mhm.
did it look like for you that helped
Yes.
with
Oh,
significant impact on your life that you could share with the other women out there?
yes. Oh my goodness. There have been so many influences that have brought me to this place. One, I gotta thank my mama. That's my bestie right there. That's my OG. All right. That's my girl. And so,
Yes.
I really have to just thank her for always just creating that non-judgmental space for me, even growing up. I think that has been so key now in how I relate with others. So that has definitely been has been key. And I can't help but to say, of course, our experience that we're on with this mastermind has also been so impactful because I'm surrounded with women who have very similar goals and dreams and values, and that came back to us knowing that we were worthy of making that investment in ourselves, right? And so I think that's one of the greatest um suggestions, recommendations, just knowing that like you can never invest in yourself too much. You can't invest too much in your own growth. That's the whole, what is this whole life even about if you're not taking the time to invest in you so you can learn about yourself and magnify the light that you have to share, And so there's so many, oh my goodness, different resources. I remember an anthology that I worked on with girlfriends as well, called Passion and Purpose. So it was 21 women entrepreneurs and creatives and advocates from the Virgin Islands, and we put our stories together. And just being able to read through each one and seeing how every story was so different, yet there were threads that were so similar that connected all of us, right? So I love anthologies for that reason because it kind of gives you a snippet of different lives of people. But then
Mhm.
even in the differences, you see the similarities amongst them. And then just honoring the people who are around you. They are a source of information. The people who do feed your soul, the people who do make you, um, you know, feel confident and comfortable in your skin. They are sources of information for us too, and let's not take them for granted.
I love that. I can see though sometimes where in that situation,
Yeah.
um, a woman may not feel as comfortable because the person does see you. What do you do with that?
Mm. So they may not feel as comfortable in a situation because the other person sees through them. Did I get that correct?
Mhm.
I would say to embrace. So now we're talking about resources. Another one that always comes up in my, therapeutic spaces is a body keep score.
Yes.
And again, that's why, the movement and the dance. So when you're facing someone that you feel can see right through you, and you're feeling that sense of fear or you're feeling that insecurity, learning to just sit with it. Sometimes we get a feeling and we feel like we need to respond to it right away. No, you don't. You can just
Yeah.
sit with it, right? Sit with it, honor it, and learn from it. What is this feeling telling me about myself? What is this feeling bringing up for me that maybe I tried to bury somewhere way far with a nice little bowl and put it on the shelf that's catching dust and cobwebs, but now all of a sudden it's coming up for me in this moment. Like, what is this? Like that power of reflection. And then understanding that oftentimes when we have people who are in front of us that are bringing up something in us, they're often reflecting something of ourselves
Mm-hmm.
in them, right? We're seeing something of ourselves in them. So for me, when I have a strong reaction to somebody
Yeah.
who I may not even know, so clearly, how can they be a threat? I don't even know these people. So why am I getting this strong? Like, what are they reflecting back to me? And again, this is where we learn about ourselves in relation to others, right? Because if I didn't see that person, maybe I wouldn't have that feeling. I wouldn't have that opportunity to reflect and say, well, what's really going on here? And
Mm-hmm.
so use that as an opportunity. Like celebrate when you have that moment of fear, or you may have that moment of insecurity and you're not really sure what that is. Celebrate that. Oh my goodness, I am getting new information. Download. I get to reflect on what this is right now.
Right.
And then just trusting yourself to be able to navigate or to choose. Because you may just choose not to navigate, right? That's a choice too. But just know that you have the ability to choose.
These are some good doggone nuggets. My whole
Darling.
notebook is full. I'm on page. All right, all right, all right. I love it. I
Yes.
love it. What legacy do you want to leave behind, Dr. K?
Girlfriendism. That's it. When I thought about this question, right, I was like, what, legacy is, I think for me, leaving this world with something that was not there when I met it.
Mhm.
And so when I go, my physical body will be gone, but girlfriendism, like we have to create a whole word for this thing. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Girlfriendism will be an imprint. It is a noun. It is a verb. It is a lifestyle. It is a movement and it is an energy. So even when my physical body is gone and returned from where it came, that energy is still going to be here. And that is going to be my legacy because the impact that it has, right? That I see girlfriends who are on this transformation. Like I just did a YouTube episode with my girlfriend Mariana, and she spoke about seeing me teach a dance class, and she was looking outside the window, right? Just looking outside the window, like, oh, this looks like a lot of fun, but I don't really know. And then just opening the door and coming to the back of the room, and just kind of being there, but not really, but just feeling things out. And then 3 months later, she was in the middle of the room. She's a little bit closer to the front, right? By 6 months, she was in the front line, right? Anytime we go live, we're doing videos, we're doing this, she's in the front line. Now she's like one of my right hands when it comes to girlfriendism. She is managing the boutique on, St. Croix and on St. Thomas. We're doing our lives together. We're working on her starting her business together. She helps to close out our girlfriend circles, right? To be able to go from literally behind the scenes or on the sideline to now being at the forefront. That in itself is legacy,
Yes.
right? To see that transformation.
Love this so much for you and her.
Thank you.
Good to be your right hand. That's like really coming alongside the sister and
Yes.
allowing her to have the comfort and the support that she
Yes.
needs. I have a cousin. I call her my sister cousin.
I love it.
Like if I call, I know she's coming. She's got
Yes.
a train, an automobile
Yes.
going to. I love that so much for you.
Yes.
I
Yes. Thank
love,
you so
love it.
much.
It
Thank you. Oh,
so
I
much.
love it, girl. We'll cry together. I'm telling you. But this
I,
is good. When these emotions can come and they can be tears of joy. It's just, knowing
I,
that there is such beauty in the world and being able to appreciate. And I just love that it's a
I,
blessing because now I get to work with my girlfriends. And who better to who better to carry forth this work than someone who's actually experienced it themselves, you know?
Absolutely. She's bought into the mission and she's experienced. That's
Yes.
such a beautiful, beautiful thing. Oh my God. So
Yes.
where we called it out, we talked about it, but let's recap it. Where can the
Yes.
sisters find you? Anything else
Yes.
you want them to know that we maybe didn't touch on in this conversation?
Oh my goodness. Well, we always touch on all the things that we needed to talk about. So everything was just as it was supposed to be. But, folks again can reach out on girlfriendism.com. They can learn about all of our work, right? Which is
Mhm.
encompassing of our retreats, one of which the soonest one is going to be next Saturday, June 14th in Cary, North Carolina. So that information is on the website. And then there's also our movement and dance. So as I'm on this experience with Selina and learning how to take my business more global. We're going to have more virtual opportunities to dance. So even for our girlfriends who are not Virgin Islands based, right? Those that we met in Greece and met in Bali, that we can keep those connections from those retreats. So we'll be able to do things virtually. And then there's these opportunities with the girlfriend therapy coaching. That's what I call it. Like how you have retail therapy, this is a girlfriend therapy. Because that's why I got this little seat right here in the corner. Come sit down on
Yes,
my couch,
love
child.
that.
Let's talk, right?
Totally need this virtual
Yes.
for
Yes,
sure.
right. There's that for us to do more of this one-on-one engagement. And then there's our nonprofit, which I am so passionate about because it's by and for survivors, supporting survivors of domestic violence and sexual violence to
Yes.
get that support, that girlfriend support that sometimes society just does not give to survivors, right? Because society blames. But there's a sacred, safe girlfriend support circle that we have with our nonprofit too. So all of that is on the website. So of course, I invite folks to check it out, to subscribe. And then we also have our YouTube channel, our Girlfriendism YouTube channel, where I talk more about, how do you address situations with girlfriends where communication may be challenging, or when you have girlfriends who are completely different from you, or how do you know you found the right tribe? So we talk through those things on the YouTube channel. So I encourage folks to go there to subscribe, listen in, and to join our tribe.
I love this. I absolutely love this. I was totally gonna ask you when you mentioned that girlfriend circle. I was like, tell me.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
is the
Oh, thank you.
girlfriend circle strictly for the survivors, or is it also in the
No,
community?
that's for everyone. Yeah. So everything I shared, it's open to everyone. The nonprofit is, function in almost like a world of itself, but we usually give, survivors a lot of the same services or the same experience there as well. So we train survivors on how to become entrepreneurs, start their own businesses to reduce the risk of, financial abuse and things like that, and understanding that they have the ability and having the confidence and the support. But everything that I've shared is for everybody. You don't have to be a survivor, right? To be a part of girlfriendism, to attend our retreats, to register for girlfriend therapy coaching, to be a part of our girlfriend circles. So normally when we do our movement and dance, we always close with a circle, right? Because we want to remind girlfriends it's not just about the fitness and the health and your heart rate and how much calories you burn. Yes, you have a watch for that. The girlfriend circle is to bring it all home. Why are we doing this together? Why are we dancing together? We're cultivating joy. We're cultivating connection. We're connecting with ourselves and honoring our bodies for taking us through this journey. We're honoring the community that we're creating through movement and self-expression. And so that's what that girlfriend circle is. So we always close out to check in with our girlfriends before we leave to make sure everyone's good.
I love that. I am a circle girl. Both of my
Yes.
are circle is in the name, right? The
Yes. I
abundance and
love it.
expansion circle and the get your shit
Yes.
together circle, because everything
Yes.
in the circle, right?
Circle. That's right. And the
Yeah,
circle is like this. So when we talk about legacy, it's that circle. It's continuous.
absolutely.
It's
And for
continuous.
me, I feel like everyone's equal in the circle, right? Because it's round.
Absolutely.
There's no up here,
Absolutely.
there's no down there.
There's no hierarchy,
Yeah,
right? There's no hierarchy.
I
And that's
love
so important. That is so important for women to really feel like they have spaces to just be themselves. We do without the hierarchy. Who made up the hierarchy anyway, child? We all got our gifts. We have our strength. We're all beautiful in our own way, and we celebrate that
to
together.
believe it was a woman
Yes.
who made up the hierarchy. Let me just the
Right?
this has just been totally magical.
Oh, thank you so much.
I cannot wait to participate, to support, to continue to collaborate in
Yeah.
this way. And
Thank you.
yeah, this has just been fantastic. Before we go, I have one last question for you.
Of course.
Do you have any questions for me?
Oh, I think you just answered it. I wanted to know, what was this experience like talking to your girlfriend, Dr. K? That was going to be my question.
It's been like sitting on the couch, just cutting,
Mm,
chilling with my,
yes.
and we just talking. I got my little drink here, my coconut water, and
Oh, yes.
we're just leaning,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
at all of these synchronicities. I didn't
Yes.
realize how aligned our missions are.
Mm-hmm.
Damn near everything that came out of your mouth is stuff that I would say,
Yes.
right?
I love that. Alignment. Alignment.
Yes.
Yes.
We
Yes.
y'all, just so y'all know, we down to the background. Y'all know y'all done seen my background with them waving palm trees
Yes.
for the place. And that was the first thing when we got on. It's like, oh my,
Yes.
this is it. I love that. And
Yes.
I feel like it what's transpired is the spirit of what girlfriendism is, right?
I'm so grateful for that.
That divine
Yes.
reflection
Hmm.
of one another. So it's beautiful to
Yes.
see. It's what it feels like for me is what I'm doing can become by the time
Hmm.
there or beyond,
Yes.
because I've gotten to
Yes.
see your journey. It's like, oh, okay, okay.
Yes.
Sometimes when you see it with somebody else, then your ideas and the downloads
Yes.
start. So I
Yes.
believe that is, well, actually, it already happened. Because
Yes.
that's
I'm
why.
loving that. Well, I thank you so much for that. And let me just affirm that what you just described, like where you want to be, like you're already there, right? Like we're in this journey. It's a process. So we can't get there without here. So I thank you for holding this space, not just for me, but for other women entrepreneurs. That is the act of girlfriendism already, right? So
Yeah,
we attracted each other in this space because you are a girlfriend, and just know that I look forward to supporting you as much as well in all that you are doing and being a part of your movement. And this is how we grow collectively. So thank you for
I
holding space.
received it. I was,
Yes.
because you were like getting me all together before we even got it all on. I was like, oh, I love this. Gift of heart.
Yes, we were connected.
Yes, this is wonderful. Well, this is our lovely time together for
Yes,
today. You all
yes.
know, until next time, we will be back with more disruption and disruptors on this conversation. So thank you, Dr. K,
Mhm,
for being here. Actually, your
mhm.
girlfriend, Dr.
I
K.
made it. Thank you, girlfriend,
Say
for
it
having
right,
me
y'all.
too.
All righty. Well, everyone out there, thank you for being here. Until next time, I want you to